Hello, everyone. Listen, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really appreciate it. This is Jay's What's Up Community Facebook page. I am Jay. Hashtag collaboration is cool. Okay, so thank you again so much for joining in. Please help me welcome my guest today, and it is Denise and Rop, my apologies. And she is actually the clinical director at White Cedar, which is located in BC, but that's okay because we can do things on Zoom now, and I think that's pretty darn exciting, right?
So exciting, so
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
So if you would maybe give a heart, yay, give a heart, maybe give a thumbs up. That's right. In the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated. So Denise, thank you so much for popping in with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jay.
Okay. So you know what, I just wanted to go over a little bit about your background. So, right, so people know a little bit more about who, right? I know you have a wonderful story and you, right, but it's always nice to be introduced. So you are a retired nurse in terms of your background with over 35 years experience. And because you are so awesome, I know that you are sought after in terms of being a consultant and a speaker under the umbrella of the health and wellness space. Okay. And you do provide very effective solutions that are forward thinking in terms of how you can help your clients. You are the creator of Owning You series, which we will talk about a little bit later. Okay. And you're also a Canadian and US ambassador for the Mindful Employer Certification, right? Which is really identifying awareness and committed support in the workplace for mental health. Which
so
is
important these days.
Isn't it though? It's the last 18 months for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was I became that ambassador before COVID. So wow.
Okay.
Anyway,
And
yeah.
now it's even more relevant. Exactly, right?
Yeah, it's so relevant. So relevant.
So I know that you're originally from Ontario, so you're an Ontarian, but then you have moved and shifted out to BC.
I was born and raised in Woodstock, Ontario, a little hick town down there, southwestern Ontario, and moved from there to the Big Smoke, moved to Toronto, lived there for a long time, 20 years, and worked in a whole lot of different places with the occupational health in hospitals and lots of manufacturing plants as well. And then with my first love always being making sure people didn't get sick in the first place. That's kind of the whole idea behind occupational health. Let's not get sick in the first place. Let's, have a full and vibrant life and live life to your fullest and do it well. So health promotion and that kind of thing. And after that, I took on a recruiter job where I started to move across the country, recruiting nurses for, in particular, either Ontario or Alberta or Saskatchewan. So I stayed there a little while and then I moved on to BC because my lovely daughter decided to go to UVic, and I came out here and you come out here at the wrong time of year, which is springtime, early spring, and you see the beautiful flowers and you go, you think of Ontario at that period of time and you go, so my choice is cherry blossoms or bleh.
Right.
And so it got real hard to say no. I want to stay out here. So I got to stay with my daughter. I got to live in this beautiful spot, and so I'm on Vancouver Island, and but like you said before, I really am able to serve people across the country, which is so awesome. I just love it, being able to have all that reach out. So yeah, so that's where I've been.
Nice. And then you became the director or the clinical director at White Cedar. And so how did that come about?
So a friend approached me a few years ago back in 2016, actually, about medical cannabis. And what did I think about it? And having been 35 years in occupational health, I was skeptical. I really had that, really. And then I started to see the results. I actually started to see people get better. And I thought, oh, there's actually something here. So when I saw that, I spoke to a number of people in the community here, and they thought it would be a great idea for us to have a medical clinic, and so providing assessments and education. We don't have any of the product here. We just do the assessments and the education, and then we hook people up with reliable quality sources that deliver medical cannabis directly to their door. So I've done that for 4 years now, because that was January 2017, and served close to 8,000 patients at that point, at this point.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and we're still going strong. Still growing that community, still getting the word out there. And we have access to 47 plus licensed producers. We do work with Shoppers Drug Mart and Relieve Therapeutics. And so those are our big partners in that. And like I said, we're able to serve across Canada, which is great.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it started off here, but we're able to reach across the country. So, because of that virtual aspect, and that really came on strong over the past 18 months.
Sure.
You know, so from there, though, what we realized was that people were starting to get better. So their chronic pain was going, their insomnia they could deal with, but they didn't necessarily know what to do at that point. So you get rid of your pain, and now what do? You've been spending 10 years sitting in a chair. Now what do? Right? You gotta figure out what are those other skills, what are those other things that you really need. So we started, I brought on other professionals to be able to teach those skills, to help build people's resiliency, build people's strength physically, build their mental health, give them different choices.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who's had insomnia for 20 years has got a lifestyle that's set up so that they get all of their news feed from, you know, Colbert or
Right.
whoever happens to be doing the late show at this point in time. So they get all of their news feed from that. So you really have to figure out what are the steps that you have to do now that you're better, now that you're actually experiencing something different, right? So that's where we started to put in these other solutions, and that's really been the start for a lot of people on their journey, living a better life. Yeah.
That's fabulous, seriously. And I know the White Cedar Clinic really helps, I guess, in all areas of that holistic piece, right? Which is the mind, body, and soul or spirit, yeah, through those integrated practices. Because it is important when we can get the pain cycle to reduce and or stop, then you carry and that flows through, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I think that when people are struggling with pain every day, many of us might not relate. So these people are exhausted. You know, they could be frustrated because nothing's maybe historically ever worked for them, and it can wear them down terribly. So maybe you could explain some of the side effects if this is where they are pre getting assistance or help, right? And then what are the other solutions? You've mentioned the one, which is the cannabis, and you've mentioned partners, but maybe other quality solutions or how it's all integrated together. So we've got the before and after piece.
Yeah, so the things that affect us are, yes, we've got the pain. So if we're able to put in something that can actually deal with that pain, well, now you can move. Now you might have a different approach to somebody. So your relationships can change, the way how productive you are. Your actual numbers, your biometrics really change as well. So your levels of inflammation change, the amount of cholesterol in your system changes, how your body uses insulin changes. These are all effects that we see on a regular basis. And of course that means the ripple effect from that is just tremendous. So if I'm able to help in getting some pain relief from you or for you, then maybe you can start to move a little bit better. And then you start to eat a little bit better. So you've got a nutritional component, you've got a physical movement component, and then your whole view of life actually changes, right? So your perspective, you're sleeping better. And again, these are reports that we get from our patients a lot. And we've had people actually send in, you're my Christmas angel because I've now got,
That's
the
awesome.
relationship with my daughters is better. And it is because I'm not in pain anymore. I don't want to kill
Right.
them because the expectations that they have as daughters, which are all reasonable and normal, you can't handle because of the pain that you're in. So it's, if we can get your pain under control, then we can actually help a whole bunch of areas, and including that. Um, uh, well, the ripple effect, like I said, is just huge. So the people that we hook them up with, it may be yoga therapy. So it may be somatics. It may be yoga therapy as a certification. There's an actual certification for that. And so our therapist can actually help you go through gentle movement to get you started again. We've got a corrective kinesiologist who deals in motion repatterning. So if you've had a limp, or you've not been able to reach in a certain way, your body's probably misaligned as far as strength is concerned.
Yep.
So how do we balance out that strength again and get you able to actually move forward in a balanced way? So this helps with all kinds of things, including Parkinson's and in particular. We have diet coaches, nutritional coaches that help because you've got to eat the right stuff.
Yes.
And little places and little things. There's nothing wrong with sugar and carbs and all that kind of stuff, but you have to eat it properly, and you have to not only help yourself get into that state where you're seeing where all those sugars are and where all of those carbs are, where are they all hiding, so that you can make conscious choices. Okay, what I'm really after here is I need a protein. I really need protein, and I really need a fat to go along with that. Okay, so let's really go for that as opposed to the Cheetos or the
the drive-throughs.
the drive-throughs. Yeah. And then also making sure you're taking the right supplements. We're in Canada. There's certain supplements we really should be taking on a regular basis. And that's just the vitamin D as an example.
I was going to say D. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's just, if you've been having a lot of antibiotics, having a lot of pharmaceuticals, your gut probably needs to be repopulated appropriately. Well, that actually takes a few things. Yes, we're dealing with the probiotics, but we got to get that inflammation down, because and you got to do those two things together, because otherwise you just end up with spending a lot of money, and it's not really helpful, right? But one of the other things that we do is we can hook people up with either psychologists or therapists that deal with particular pattern breaking things. We've all got these patterns stuck in our heads, where we run back to the little 5-year-old that experienced whatever, and that's our comfort spot, which is great, but you really have to be able to recognize it. And then be able to have the skills or to put new patterns into place because of that neuroplasticity of our brain here, be able to put that into place so that we can actually make the positive movements that we want and support ourselves.
Yeah.
No,
that's so true. Yeah. I just love that whole package that you're saying, because creating awareness around our, unconscious habits. It's so true. And how do we do that? Right. And then change a habit as we move forward. That's cool. That's what that is. Hashtag cool. I'm going to do that right now.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It is. And when you start to see people, make different choices, it's so wonderful. It's just, and their heart really comes out then. It's not hidden. It's not that little 5-year-old that's coming out going, I'm scared now, looking for somebody else to be their support. They can actually sort of share their heart and share their love. So
Yes, that's nice. No, it's true, right?
yeah,
And if they're probably for the first time in a long time, as you say, coming out, the gratitude and the love would be huge, in terms of, wow, I can actually start to live life again.
you
And
bet.
right. And
Yeah,
that's empowering,
it is. It
right?
is. It's very empowering. And some of the changes, the most profound changes, I'm going to say, actually have come from the spouses of the people who have gone through the programs. So that husband of the lady who started taking cannabis, and she, sends in that Christmas angel thing. Um, the next time we saw them, he was so overcome with emotion that he couldn't speak. He was
Oh,
so grateful. He was just, and it so so it's really being seen by other people. I had a gentleman in here yesterday who, he's gone through a lot of changes as well, and he said, the one thing that really struck him was the one day he's walking past uh, a the lunchroom, and he overhears a conversation with two of his coworkers, and they're saying, you know, what's up with John? I mean, he's different. He's actually in a really good mood these days. So, like, what do you think is going on in his life? And they started spec, but his response was, other people are seeing it. Like I'm feeling better, yeah, but other people are actually seeing it, and
yeah.
they're talking about it, not to him, but they're talking about it to other people, right? So, that kind of thing, or the lady who takes the Owning You program, and she goes into a restaurant, instead of just accepting what's face value, she asks for what she needs.
Mhm.
And then her husband actually writes me and say, we don't have the drama after bad meals anymore. They're gone. That whole thing is gone. I'm like, cool, cool.
Thanks.
You know,
Yeah.
there, that, that just makes that relationship stronger. It just makes the love in that relationship so much better. That's wonderful.
That's cool. Yeah. You know what? And it's the stories people can start to relate to, because they can go, well, if it provides hope too. And if that can happen to this person, then maybe it can happen to me, or to my aunt, or to my grandmother, or to whomever. Right.
Yep, yep.
Right? And
And
that's,
seeing that, I can honestly say that I've got a lot of belief. So when people call in, I know they can do it. I
yeah.
know they can. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've witnessed in the people that didn't think that they would ever see these things happen. They were just, I'm looking for something else. They come in, and then they come back, and they're just a different person, and they are just overjoyed. They're just, I like my job because I get a lot of hugs. So outside of COVID time. So
I was just going to say, right?
yeah,
Five, whatever, elbows.
we do a lot of this over the Zoom these
Yes.
days. Yeah,
I love that. So, in terms of too, I know you have a three-step process, obviously, which does help the patients find their freedom in their health challenges. So tell us more a little bit maybe about that. What is the three-step process? What does that involve? What does that mean?
sure. Well, everybody is different. It's kind of like a combo lock, right? So,
Mhm.
you remember go back in high school, we've got that, they do this lock and it's got that page on it. You're like,
Yeah.
Um, and everybody's got a combination. You
Mhm.
just have to figure out what the combination is.
Right.
Right. And so some of it may be here, some of it may be outside of here, and we can refer to or make suggestions or those kinds of things, or we work with other professionals. So the first step, obviously, is to get that clarity call, get that conversation happening
Mhm.
about what are your goals?
Yeah.
What are your goals? And where are you at right now? Um, so in depending on the path you choose to go, we can set you up with the cannabis physicians as far as that's concerned, and get you support that way. If you're looking for something more robust, then we can get some assessments done. So whether that is a complete panel of biometrics, blood tests, And we can get those done. We can get the corrective kinesiologist to do a bit of an assessment with you and be able to say, what the possible plans are. Our therapist can do a bit of an assessment and give you an idea of where things are going, and then what we do is we put all of that together or pick out the pieces and the direction. We talk to you about what that looks like, and then put you through the process and then provide you with the ongoing support. Once people come in here and they get themselves set up here, they're supported. It doesn't matter. You can call up and say, this is working, this isn't working, what's going on here. You totally get the support. Nice. So, coming up with where you're at is step number one, putting you through whatever program it is that we put you through, and then giving you that ongoing support. That's really how
it's important. The support is important because people might feel that they don't want to do it alone, or that whatever their thoughts are surrounding that. They want ease, they want simplicity, and they want support. Right?
And we've seen it happen. So we know that we know where the pitfalls are going to be. We know when that, I can't do it. You can. So I see it. I can see it in your eyes. No, I don't have to hear it. I've had people come on calls and I'm like going, it's time, isn't it? We need to get you into this other place where we can get that mind, that old patterning, that 5-year-old or the protector of the 5-year-old coming out. And I'm gonna make sure that you don't step out of this. So we do make sure that all that is happening for people.
Excellent. That's exciting. And I'm going to ask you another quick question, because I know cannabis is new but isn't new in terms of in Canada, right? Yes. And there could be some people who will are watching or on the rebroadcasting who might be thinking that I don't want to get high, or I can't be taking cannabis if I'm driving, or whichever. And I just thought of this, but it just maybe a clarification around the separation of what's happening in terms of the cannabis.
Yeah, so the cannabis itself, I'm going to tell you the first thing that absolutely 100% of my people say when they come through the door, virtually, physically, is I don't want to get high.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. So 8,000 people have said I don't want to get high. Number one, CBD doesn't make you high. That's not going to happen. The other thing is that we typically work with ratios, and with specifics around when you're going to be taking things to deal with the problem that you need to deal with. So you're not going to be high when you're driving. The other thing, and this is just a little tip, somebody feels like they're listening to this and they're like going, yeah, I get high. Okay, if you don't want to be high, take some CBD. Make sure you've got that little remedy pack of a CBD, 100% CBD with you, because you take the CBD when you're high and that will stop the high. Okay. It'll take a little bit of time, but it'll stop it. So that's just a way to be able to take away that psychoactive component, because it's nobody wants to get high. That's not what we're here for. That's right. We're here to deal with the conditions, the chronic conditions that people have, and to give them the opportunity to actually live the life they want to live. So we're not about the getting high part.
Okay.
We are about dealing with the medical component.
No, and I think that's important that people understand that. Some may and some may not, or they just not a believer yet in terms of that. But I think it's important that you address the question.
One really other quick statement on that is we have within our bodies, we have an endocannabinoid system. So endo meaning inside, cannabinoid system. We already make internally cannabinoids to be able to do certain things. And for whatever reason, they stop working, they're not as effective, whatever. And then we move to phytocannabinoids, the cannabis plant. And we happen to have the receptors for them. So if somebody's really questioning that whole kind of thing, you can start doing some research on the endocannabinoid system.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Because yeah, there might be a few people who want to dive, but I think
Yeah,
after speaking with you, obviously in your background, it could help certainly clear all that stuff up. So, and
yeah,
I
we've
know,
been doing it for a while. Yeah,
yeah, you've been doing it for a little bit.
yeah, yeah. We're going on. It's almost 5 years. So I'm now in, past the 4.5 year mark. We're past that. So yeah,
Yeah.
no,
And 8,000 people, that says something too, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And I know people can also sign up for your newsletter, which really does open the vault for some really amazing offerings.
Mhm.
Why don't you explain more about that,
So
Denise?
if you go to the whitecedarclinic.com website and you want to take a look at classes, you can look into the class area. You can sign up as a client, and that will get you newsletters. That will also get you some of the benefits and bonuses of seeing what we're doing. Everything that we do is offered virtually. It can be offered virtually. I mean, if they want to come here and visit here, if they happen to be locals, they can come here, not a problem. But everything else can be done virtually. So, well, except for one thing, but that's anyway. um, but the so if they come, they can actually do that. And I was talking to you earlier. Can I announce it now?
Yeah.
Okay. For your listeners who happen to be on this call, listening to this call, if they sign up for a clarity call before July 15th, they
Mhm.
can get $1,000 off of the Owning You program. So they just have to sign up for the clarity call, and then I'll hold that pricing for them
Nice.
going forward. So that's about a 20% savings, actually.
That's a
Um,
good deal.
that's and it's 12 weeks, so, and of really intensive coaching with you, so, or with me. So that's yeah, it's something that I want to be able to offer, especially to your WhatsApp group. So
Thank you.
anyway, so that's
Yeah.
a big
Well,
thing.
that's very generous. So thank you very much for that. I know you were busting. Like, can I
Yeah.
do it now?
So it's, yeah, so hashtag WhatsApp, when you're messaging me, you got to let me know that this is from this group.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and that would make sense as well. So how do they find out about it?
Yeah, so they got to make that clarity call, and then they got to let me know that they've that it came through here. So
Okay,
anyway,
perfect. Yes,
okay.
and I'll post that as well. So if people do see it afterwards too, right, they'll know what to do, which is great. So let's go back into then you're the creator of Owning You series, because this is what it's being applied to, which is pretty exciting. So why don't you explain a little bit more about that and its format?
So that format is it's a 12-week intensive. And we do those biometrics beforehand. We put you through weekly coaching, and the coaching is at least 2 hours weekly. So you get time with me, you'll get time with a nutrition coach, you'll get time with our kinesiologist. So you get exercises, you get the dieting, the diet planning, you get, and you work with me on the mindset component and the resilience component. So you work through that 2 hours every week. We set that up for whatever time works for you. And so we're covering mind, body, and spirit there for sure. Okay. The nutritional component. At week 6 and 7, you get an appointment with our therapist who deals specifically with that pattern reset in the brain. Okay. So that you get to figure out, okay, what's blocking any changes here, and get them locked in so that you've got that new mindset, that new neuroplasticity, those brain
Mhm.
pathways that are so important. And of course, the kinesiologist works on that whole physical, getting the physical pathways working properly. You go through the 12 weeks, and at the end of the 12 weeks, we do another biometric series, and we compare them.
I was just gonna,
And
yes.
yeah, and this is where it gets really exciting. You can actually see changes. You'll see changes in weight. You'll see changes in your glucose levels. You'll see changes in your cholesterol levels. You'll see changes in your wellness scores, because we do take a big chunk of time and spend some time on where you're at and where you think you're at.
Mhm.
So we're actually able to show the difference between before and after.
Nice.
Yeah, and then you get a full year of support after that. So email and or phone calls, we can set them up after that, just to support you in your new life going forward.
That's pretty dynamic, actually. There's a lot there, which is, as I said, a beautiful round, well-rounded that it goes after all the pieces of that holistic mindset, which
Mhm.
is kudos to you for developing it and going. And I know you had mentioned too, you're talking about the developing the skills of resilience. They're developing all these amazing skill sets. You've talked about those benefits too, just by comparing that, which are important. It's
Well, yeah, people have really had that part of their lives pounded on quite a
mm,
bit in this past year. I mean, yes, we've had the pandemic, but if you sit back and look at it, it's not just that. You know, you've had all of the issues around the pandemic. You've had the Me Too thing, the Black Lives Matter, the Indigenous reconciliation components here. These are all they affect us all
mm.
on a collective conscious, but then individually. And so you have to have the resilience to be able to know what you're doing to go forward with that big open heart so that all of those things can be okay, so that you can come out of this stronger with a lot more love in your life, personally, on an individual self-love stuff, and then also for the people around you.
That's awesome. And I love that open heart. Um, and it's interesting. Yeah, it's true. And people do forget where they start. So to show this is where you were and this is where you are, and you have this amazing progression.
And 12 weeks isn't that long,
No,
really.
but yes, I agree with you. But it's amazing what can happen in
Yeah,
that time frame, right?
yeah, it's so amazing. We can I get excited about it because I know what can happen for people.
Yes,
And I know what can change for people in the course of an hour or 4 hours or 4 weeks. I know what can happen. It's
right.
really cool.
Which
Hmm.
is, yeah, excellent. That's just wonderful. And I believe, and you can correct me, is yoga integrated into that as well? Because I know you have the Sitka studios, or is that separate? I'm not sure, but are they integrated? Because you'd mentioned it earlier as well.
Yep. So the
Nice.
building here, the physical building actually has, on one side is the clinic side of things, and then on the other side is this great big open space, which is the yoga studio. And if what you really need and what you really aspire to is not the corrective kinesiologist, but really need someone who's a little gentler, then we can bring in a pain a yoga therapist.
Okay.
So you can put that in. Or that can be run, as we do have those classes, and we're just setting up our September schedule.
Nice.
So you'll be able to go online and see what the new schedule is shortly, because I'm just getting it. Um, One of my yoga instructors goes, "It's July, it's just July. What do you mean? Oh, like, yeah. Um, anyway, so getting them going on those classes can definitely start in September.
Yeah, and I think, and I really appreciate too, if they've not moved in a long time, the movement piece and component, because yeah, they could be scared. They have to get over the scared part that they're not going to have a flare or whichever. But yeah, I love the yoga too, because again, that brings so many amazing, beautiful elements into the healing process.
We were really meant to move. That's why
Mhm.
we got these bodies.
That's
You know,
right.
otherwise we could have been, teardrop shaped.
Right. We'd be like,
Sorry. Um, anyway, so we've got these bodies. They really need to move. They want to move,
mhm,
and so how do we get them to move? And if you've had stuff happen in your past, whether that's things that have led to the chronic pain or to the anxiety or to the depression or insomnia, that stuff lodges in your tissues. It
mm,
really, and the only way to get it out is to move. You
yes.
actually have to move it to get it out. So that's why it's so important that we put in some movement therapy that deals with this. So, yeah.
That's excellent. No, thank you so much for sharing that piece. And folks, I
Mhm.
hope you find this interesting, like I certainly do. And I just love talking about health and wellness and how we can help and serve and go forward. So I would love if you wouldn't mind recapping the call. Is it a free consultation, or what did you call that consultation? What was it again?
Clarity call. It's a
Clarity call. Love it.
Yep. And yep, that's free. And yes, we can get you hooked up with the kinesiologist for a free 20-minute assessment. We can get you hooked up with the nutritionist for a free assessment. And then there's the therapist as well can also be hooked up to get that assessment as well. So
Okay.
those things can all be free. And you do get something out of each one of them. So if nothing else,
Why not? Like,
why not? Yeah. So it's book that clarity call. Get something for yourself for sure.
I love that name too, the clarity call, right? It really is visually, you know exactly what's going down. So, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So, Denise, I really appreciate you popping on today. I think it's been phenomenal, and you're sharing your insights and everything else. So one more time, folks, we're going to go, ooh, the heart. Yes, the heart. Okay. Thumbs up, and please comment below. What I'm going to do is I will be posting the links. So everything will be right there. Okay, phone numbers, links, everything, boom, make it easy peasy for you guys to go in and do that. I do recommend it if it's free and we have a special going on. Why wouldn't you? Honestly, why wouldn't you at least look at the information and talk to the lovely Denise or her crew? Because it just makes sense, right? Right. And it's because if you've been suffering, why are you continuing to suffer? I think don't go down that path.
Exactly. We really, really do believe in our patients. We really do believe in our clients, and we do believe that they can live a better life and live the life they want to lead.
Yeah, a purposeful life is how everyone should be doing it, right?
Mhm.
So, folks, I am going to ask of you, if you wouldn't mind, to please like this, what we're doing here today. If you wouldn't mind commenting, please tag somebody, because again, we don't know what's behind the curtain of another individual. So this information could be incredibly valuable to them. Sharing is caring, right? Please do so that. Okay, that would be amazing. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go hashtag right here is collaboration is cool, folks, right? Hashtag White Cedar Clinic, hashtag integrative health.
Definitely.
That's a good one. Hashtag mental health,
Definitely.
and alternative solutions.
You bet.
Right. And it's an amazing start. And I think perfect. So thank you again so much for coming on, Denise. Love it. And I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Jay, you are absolutely awesome. I really, really appreciate the time, and I love talking about this stuff. So whenever, I'm happy to talk to you at any time. It's not, we don't have to do this, but I'm happy to share the love with all of your peeps and with the people that are checking this video out. It's something that is near and dear to my heart and is my purpose in life. So thank you so much. Very much appreciated.
Okay. Thank you, folks, for dropping in too. Okay. Take care. Take care, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.